What if you could run 10 AI coding agents at the same time, all on your laptop, each working on a different task in their own isolated branch, and you just monitor them from one dashboard? That tool just hit GitHub. It's called Superset. It's free, it's open source, and it works with Claude Code, OpenAI Codex, Cursor, Gemini, literally any coding agent that runs in a terminal. I just used it to ship an entire feature: landing page, API endpoint, database migration, and tests, all in 45 minutes by running 4 agents in parallel, each one handling a different piece. Let me show you how. Here's the problem Superset solves. Right now, when you use a coding agent, Claude Code, Codex, whatever, you run it in your terminal. It works in your code base. One agent, one task, one branch. If you want to work on something else while it's running, you wait. Or you open another terminal. But now both agents are editing the same files and stepping on each other. This is the bottleneck nobody talks about. Each AI agent is fast, but you're still sequential, one task at a time, one agent at a time. Superset fixes this with one concept: worktree isolation. Every task you create gets its own Git worktree, its own branch, its own working directory. Agent A works in worktree A. Agent B works in worktree B. They literally cannot interface with each other. Different directories, different branches, same repo. You launch 10 tasks, 10 agents start working, and you watch them all from one dashboard. When one finishes, you review the diff, merge it, and you move on. That's it. Let's set it up. Here's what you need: a Mac. Superset is Mac OS only right now. Windows and Linux support is coming. Bun, a JavaScript runtime. If you don't have it, here's how you can get it. You almost certainly have this already. Check with this command. It is required by Superset to run. Install it with brew install caddy, at least one AI coding agent. For this tutorial, we're going to use Codex CLI from OpenAI. And note that Claude Code and Gemini CLI are also supported, but each requires its own API key. So let's dive into our first demo. I'll link both of them in the description. Download, drag the applications, and done. Or build from source if you want to peek under the hood. Here's the Git clone for it. Here's an important note for you: caddy file is required before running the bun run dev. Without it, you will run a fatal error and Superset will not start. And there it is, clean interface. Sidebar on the left shows your workspaces. Each workspace is an isolated environment for one task. Let me open a project. I'll use one of my existing repos, a Next.js app with an API, a database, and a front end. Select the project folder. Superset scans the repo, sets up the base configuration. Now let's create our first parallel workspace. Here's where the magic happens. I'm going to create 4 tasks that I want done simultaneously. Task 1, build a pricing page component with 3 tiers, a toggle for monthly, annual, and a responsive design. Task 2, create an API endpoint at /API/waiting waitlist that accepts business submissions and stores them in the database. Task 3, write a database migration that adds a waitlist table with email created at and source columns. Task 4, write unit tests for the API waitlist endpoint. Cover successful submission, duplicate email, and invalid email cases. Watch. Command N opens a new workspace modal. The interface now asks you to describe your task in the "what do you want to do" question, and now you need to select an agent from the drop-down. Available agents include Claude, Codex, Copilot, Gemini, OpenCode, and more. Fill in the first task, select Codex, and press Command plus Enter, and Superset automatically creates a new Git branch and a new worktree directory. You see that? Branch called Build a Pricing Page component is created. Working directory is separate from the main repo. Clean isolation. Now, without waiting, I hit Command plus N again, and a new workspace gets created. Second task, select Codex again. Third task, fourth task, all 4 workspaces visible in the sidebar, each showing agent activity. 4 agents, 4 tasks, 4 isolated branches, all running simultaneously. Look at the sidebar. Green dot means working, yellow means needs attention. I'm going to grab a coffee. These agents are going to keep working. Task 3, the database migration. Finished first, makes sense. It's the simplest. Let me click into it. Superset has a built-in diff viewer. Command L toggles the changes panel. Diff viewer shows there's the migration. New table, 3 columns, proper indexes, looks clean. I can edit directly in the diff viewer if I want to tweak anything. If I'm happy, I merge. Type a commit message, stage all the files by clicking the plus button, and click commit and then push. GitHub opens a pull request that can be merged with one click. Done. Branch merged into main. On to the next one. Task 4, the unit test, is done too. Let me review. 3 tests covering successful submission, duplicate email, and invalid email cases. Let me run them quickly from the Workspace terminal. All green. Let's merge them. Now task 2, the API endpoint. It's showing yellow. It means the agent hit a question or needs your input. Clicking into the Workspace, Codex is asking whether I want email validation or just store raw input. I type add email validation with the proper regex. Return 400 for emails that are invalid. It continues. Back to work. Task 1, the pricing page, still running. It's the most complex piece. Let me peek in. It's creating the component, adding the tier data, building the toggle. Looking good. I'll let it cook. One more feature that makes this production ready. Superset lets you configure setup and tear down scripts. Every time a new workspace is created, your setup scripts run automatically. And here's the setup script. Now every workspace starts with the right environment variables and fresh dependencies. Your agents hit the ground running. You can also quick launch any agent directly from the workspace. Click the agent icon on the top tab bar, Claude, Codex, Gemini, etc. to instantly open that agent in the new tab. Now let me paint the picture of what this enables. Monday morning, you have a feature to ship. It has 5 pieces: front-end components, API endpoint, database changes, tests, and documentation. The old way will be to work on each piece sequentially. Maybe you run one coding agent at a time, 5 tasks, maybe 30 minutes each, 2.5 hours, plus context switching between each one. Superset way is to create 5 workspaces. You describe each task in 1 sentence, you launch the agents, you go make the breakfast, you come back, review the 5 diffs, merge the good ones, give feedback on the rest. Total active time is 15 minutes of review. Total wall clock time, however long the slowest agent took, probably 20 minutes. That's not marginal improvement. That's a fundamentally different way to build software. And if you're a solopreneur, you're not competing with companies that have 5 developers. You're competing with companies that have 1 developer running 5 AI agents in parallel. That's the new paradigm. A few things I learned from this experience. Tip 1. Start with independent tasks. Don't create a workspace for build the API and another for build the front end that calls the API. The front end agent will fail because the API doesn't exist yet in its worktree. Think parallel. What tasks have 0 dependencies on each other? Tip 2. One API key is enough to run multiple agents. If you only have one API key, say OpenAI, you can use Codex across all workspaces. You don't need to mix Claude, Codex, and Gemini. Using different agents is optional and only useful if you have multiple API keys. Tip 3. Keep task descriptions specific. Build a pricing page is okay. Build a pricing page with 3 tiers, monthly annual toggle, responsive design, using your existing Tailwind config is much better. More specific prompts mean less back and forth. Now, gotcha 1 is that Superset is macOS only right now. If you're on Windows or Linux, it's open source, community ports are likely coming. Start the repo and watch for updates. Gotcha 2. Merging requires a GitHub remote. Superset merges via pull requests to GitHub. Make sure your project is connected to GitHub remote before you start doing the work. And here's a quick setup for GitHub CLI. Gotcha 3. Every agent needs its own API key. Claude Code needs an Anthropic API key, Codex needs an OpenAI API key, Gemini needs a Google API key. Choose the agent that matches the API key you have. This is the kind of workflow I'm obsessed with, using AI to 10x what a single person can build. If you want to learn the full system, not just coding agents, but research agents, content agents, business automation agents, all working together, I put together a complete blueprint. Link in description. In the next video, I'll show you ByteDance's new agent framework, Deerflow. It's like Superset, but for research agents. Your AI builds reports, writes codes, and run experiments, all automatically. Click that one next. Subscribe and hit the bell. New agent tutorials every week. See you in the next one.